It is Wednesday, December 30th, 2020, and you are tuned into DIRTRACKR Daily. I'm Justin Fiedler. Today on the show, we preview the Tulsa Shootout, which opens today. We take a look at Shane Stewart's incredible career as a driver. There's some new podcast episodes from many of the other dirt shows and more. But first, this episode is brought to you by Blood Lubricants. Blood carries a high-performance line of synthetic racing oils, and they've got you covered for all sorts of dirt racing applications. Engine oils, gear oil, suspension fluid, cleaning products, you name it, they've got it. And these aren't bargain basement oils and lubricants. This is high-quality stuff. Danny Dietrich grabbed 13 wins in 2020 running the Blood Racing Pro Series engine oil in his 410 engine. It's hard to argue with race-winning performance. They've got a great racer support program that offers discounts on products plus free swag, and they support hundreds of racers across many divisions throughout the country. To check out the support program, find out more information, or to buy, visit bloodlubricants.com. That's BLUD lubricants.com. If you'd like to receive 25% off most products, use code DIRT at checkout. That's DIRT, all caps, at checkout. The Tulsa Shootout opens today at the River Spirit Expo Center in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Teams were on track for practice yesterday with racing running today through Saturday. If you don't know about this event, it features multiple divisions of micro sprints, including winged and non-wing racing on the same track the Chili Bowl competitors will use in a few weeks. Over 1,200 cars are signed in across the divisions, and the field includes some heavy hitters like Christopher Bell and Brady Bacon. There are also plenty of USAC young guns like Emerson Axum, Kaylee Bryson, Dazen Persley, and more in the field. Be a wild few days with Golden Drillers on the line in each class and drivers from across the country trying to make a name for themselves. Today inside the Expo is heat races for 5 of the divisions: Outlaw Non-Wing, Restricted A-Class, Outlaw Winged, Mod 600, and A-Class Winged. Action is already underway as I record this. If you'd like to keep up with the action, you can watch live all day long on Flow Racing with your subscription. Make sure to follow the Tulsa Shootout on Twitter. We will certainly be keeping an eye on the action over the next couple of days, talking about who's doing what and who's winning and things like that. So stay tuned for that over the next couple of days. After Shane Stewart's announcement yesterday about his retirement and takeover of Port City Raceway in Oklahoma, there was a ton of reaction on social media, as you might expect. And specifically, there were some really great Shane Stewart stats floating around. I kind of wanted to take a look at his career and some of these stats that we saw yesterday. We mentioned that he's 19th all-time in World of Outlaws wins with 36, and that he won at several crown jewels. We mentioned that on the show yesterday. Besides the 2015 Kings Royal, Shane also bagged an Ironman at Peevely, a Gold Cup at Silver Dollar Speedway, and 2 Capitani Classic wins. In his career, he also had 10 All-Star Circuit of Champions wins, 29 ASCS wins, and he won the 360 Knoxville Nationals 5 times. Speaking of Knoxville, Eric Arnold, who works for the racetrack, had a wild Shane Stewart Knoxville National stat last night. Shane never appeared in a Knoxville Nationals B main. His first 8 attempts, he was a C main or D main finisher, and then he ripped off 19 consecutive Saturday feature appearances, and he did it with 8 different car owners. Only Steve Kinzer, Donnie Schatz, and Danny Lasowski have longer streaks at the Nationals. That's a hell of a stat and a hell of a group to be a part of. And kind of looking at all he's accomplished, you've got to think Shane is a shoo-in for the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame at some point in the near future. There's just so much on his resume. Looking back through his full-time Outlaw season, Shane's best year was 2015. That was the year he won the Kings Royal. And looking back at that season, he actually also won the night before that weekend as well, so it was a weekend sweep at Eldora. He also won the Ironman and a Knoxville prelim night that year. In total, he had 9 official wins in 2015. He finished second in the points, but he was up against the buzzsaw of Donnie Schatz that year. Schatz had 31 wins in 2015, which was more than 40% of the races on the schedule that year. Just absolutely insane. He also finished top 10 in 70 of 75 races. It was going to basically be impossible to beat Schatz for the points that year. It was a strong year for Stewart, though. Besides the 9 wins, he ended the year with 38 top 5s and 57 top 10s. That was when he was driving for the Kyle Larson and Justin Marks owned Larson Marks team. Even this season, as you kind of look back, he was piecing together rides. He ran limited races. Certainly kind of had to have those questions in the back of his mind about whether his career was coming to a close. Stewart showed regularly just how good of a driver he is. Between May and June, Stewart had a stretch of races in the Indy Race Part 71 where he finished 4th, 6th, 4th, 4th, 5th, 5th, and 8th. And if you start looking at some of his wins at Williams Grove in July, track, Shane has not been super great at in his career and would say that himself. He led all 25 laps in that Indy Race Part 71 to grab the win over a stacked World of Outlaws and PA Posse field. He had to hold off a mid-race charge from Anthony Macri in that race. Later in the year in October, Stewart was tapped to fill in for David Gravel and Jason Johnson Racing 41 for 2 nights. Gravel was on that truck series schedule, wasn't quite sure what races he was going to be able to be at. So they brought Shane in to run Lakeside and Lake Ozark. And at Lakeside, Stewart led all 25 laps from the pole to grab his second win of the season. It's difficult for anyone to win these races, let alone someone jumping in another driver's car for fill-in duty, and Stewart made it look pretty dang easy. Looking back, if that ends up being Stewart's last Outlaw win, I think he'd probably be okay with that. He was driving the 41 made famous by his really good friend Jason Johnson. That's a neat way, I think, to kind of wrap up your Outlaw career. For the year, even with limited starts, Shane was 10th in the DIRTRACKR.com average nightly driver rating and was only one of 7 drivers with multiple Outlaw wins in 2020. For a driver with a career that lasted as long as his did, this was a hell of a way to finish it out. You can certainly find more of these stats on Twitter, social media, and there's a bunch of stuff at DIRTRACKR.com/analytics as well. If you're looking for other dirt racing podcasts this week, there is plenty of new stuff to listen to. Open Red and Loud Pedal both have Brian Walker, who a lot of you will know as Walkopedia. QuickTime has Flea Ruzick and Matt Jewell. Passing Points has Frank Flood, and there are new episodes of The Dirt Nerds, Wednesdays with Wayne, and the Midwest Autosports podcast. If you'd like to see that full list of dirt racing podcasts and episodes, you can find that at DIRTRACKR.com/podcasts. There are 3 items on the streaming schedule today. Flow Racing has USAC 24/7 and the aforementioned first day of the Tulsa Shootout from that Tulsa Expo Center. Like I said, the shootout is live right now, so as you listen to this, there is racing going on. Dirt Vision has Dirt Car Esports action tonight from the virtual Fairbury Speedway. That show is free to watch. To see the full daily schedule, check out DIRTRACKR.com/watch tonight. Before I close out today, a quick event note for the weekend. The New Year's Eve Bash and Street Stock World Championships that were supposed to happen this weekend at Cochran Motor Speedway in Georgia have been postponed due to inclement weather. To get more information about that event, you can visit CochranMotorspeedway.com. If I remember correctly, I think those events were supposed to be live on Flow Racing as well, so that will be missing from the streaming schedule over the weekend. But there are a few other things going on, some racing from Down Under, the hangovers happening at 411, so lots of other stuff to tune into this weekend. Also the Tulsa Shootout, as we talked about. So there will be other items on the streaming schedule if you need a dirt racing fix in the next couple of days. That's it for the show today. Hope everybody has a good Wednesday. You can find DIRTRACKR Daily on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or where you get podcasts. Please subscribe and leave a review. You can also watch the show every day on YouTube and Facebook. If you're watching on YouTube, it would be great help if you could hit that subscribe button as well. You can email the show at info@dirttracker.com, and you can follow along at facebook.com/dirttracker, twitter.com/dirttracker, and the website itself, dirttracker.com. You can follow me personally on Twitter at Justin_Fiedler. Just a show note, even though tomorrow is New Year's Eve and Friday is New Year's Day, we will have new shows both days. So DIRTRACKR.com is not, or DIRTRACKR Daily, is not done yet for the week. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Like I said, we will see you tomorrow for more DIRTRACKR Daily.